What's up, everybody? Welcome into Sports Speaks on YouTube. Hashtag Keep It Real. Sravan here with Will and RJ tonight. Zach, Tyler, and Eric are going to be inactive tonight, gentlemen. What's going on?
Good, what's good?
All right, well, first and foremost, we want to wish everybody to be safe. At this point, we all saw this morning that President Trump has contracted the coronavirus, and so we do send our best wishes to everyone who has been affected, regardless of what we may think of them. Please hit that subscribe button down below. Follow us on Twitter. Look for The Shield, and we begin today with some news coming from net star Kyrie Irving, who had a few choice words. And RJ, you as a basketball player, and before you get into your joke, I want to say that obviously at this point, when you play the sport, you understand the complexities of it, and sometimes emotions can get up in there. But comments were made, and so you have the floor.
Well, first, I like to say that, Kyrie Irving is one of my favorite players, and, I've been a Kyrie Irving disciple, as you may know. Like, I've defended him through everything that he said. But his comments today made me, think back on my basketball career and realize that basketball is a game of egos. Like, it's a game filled with them. Everyone has an ego in every sport, but basketball is, you can argue basketball has the worst part of egos because, it's a game where it's not, they're running up and down the court and it's not separate like football where it's offense and defense and they're not playing on the same time like a basketball players do. But what Kyrie said today, with everybody's thinking that he's talking about LeBron. And, in my opinion, I don't think that he's talking about LeBron by saying that Kevin Durant is the best, what did he say, like the best teammate or best closer that he's played with or something like that. The thing is, though, a lot of players, when they go to a new team, they'll say that player is the best. For example, Martellus Bennett, he was a Patriot in 2016, and he went to the Packers in 2017 offseason, and they asked him who was the best quarterback you play with, and he put Rodgers at number one. So in that instance, I thought he was just saying that because he's playing with Kevin Durant. Like, what is he supposed to say? And that's what I mostly think that he's saying. But in my opinion, with the media, they're saying that he's jealous of LeBron when he said that he's, that he felt like he's the best closer on a team. I don't have a problem with him saying that because he was the best closer on the Cavs team. Now, granted, LeBron James was the best player, obviously, because he's the best player in the world. But closer and the best player in the world is different. You're closing a game out and you're hitting a clutch shot. For example, the 2016 finals. And he said, another thing that he said that rubbed people the wrong way was that we don't need a head coach or something like that. In my opinion, I don't think that's he was meaning it. I think that he shouldn't have said that. I think that it was a pretty, well, how should I put this? Pretty dumb statement because you do need a head coach to win a game. But he kind of backtracked on it, saying that he feels like the Nets can coach collectively. And I'm guessing he gets those vibes from Steve Nash that team could be, player and coach collectively. And I think that actually could work out in the Nets' favor. And I've actually talked to a lot of LeBron fans today. I have a lot of friends that are LeBron fans, and some of them have said that Kyrie's jealous of LeBron, and I could kind of see why people can make that case because of all the history, him wanting to leave Cleveland, because people forget there were rumors that Kyrie Irving didn't want to play with LeBron. He didn't want him to come back to Cleveland. And they came up right after LeBron said, I'm coming home. So I definitely do think that him and LeBron maybe don't have the best relationship. I mean, it's hard to beat out Dwayne Wade and Anthony Davis. I mean, come on. Dwayne Wade is LeBron's best friend. It's his best teammate, arguably, in my opinion. It's his best teammate, without a doubt. But, not every player is going to get along with players. For instance, Kevin Durant, he didn't get along with Draymond Green, and Kevin Durant later said that was this deciding decision where they got into a fight on the bench, and Draymond Green called Kevin Durant a bitch, and that was kind of the deciding factor. Kevin Durant did say that on First Take, that's one of the reasons why he left. But Kevin Durant, he's kind of sensitive, and the reason why he's sensitive is kind of he's like a mama's boy, and that's not a bad thing. It's not an indictment on him. But Kyrie Irving, when he wanted to leave Cleveland, he wants to be the guy, and that's not an issue. He didn't want to be Robin to LeBron's Batman, and that's why he wanted to leave. And you can say that he's taking a shot. I actually think that what he did today, this might be controversial, but I think it's good to set the tone for next season, because I actually do want to see the Nets and Lakers in the finals. And I want to elaborate on something. When you say something to stars like LeBron James and Tom Brady and Kobe Bryant, this is just bulletin board material for LeBron, because he's the way he's playing against the Heat. He's using that bulletin board material, what Pat Riley said about him after he left Miami Heat, because Pat Riley said some controversial statements about LeBron. And I just think that people need to chill out on Kyrie, but I understand why the media is, saying that he's hating on LeBron.
I don't disagree with that, and at the same time, though, there is a lot of stuff that was going on today about that. And Will, obviously, when I first met you, you obviously were a you are and still are a basketball fan. But when you heard those comments, what did you think of them?
Yeah, no, I do. I kind of agree with RJ. I do think he was sort of kind of talking out of his ass a little bit, but and then he kind of cleared it up. But anyway, whenever I've realized that over the years now, ever since the Cleveland days, it really made me realize just with Kyrie Irving that anything that a professional player especially does is going to be under a microscope. So, and actually earlier, RJ and I were actually sort of talking about this, and I was trying to tell him that at this point I kind of don't even really care what he says. Now I'll probably examine what he says sometimes, and I'll just think, oh, he's just trying to say this, that he wasn't trying to step on anybody's toes or anything. But yeah, at this point of his career, everything he says is going to spark a conversation. And it could be anything. He could be talking about something complete off the topic of sports, and they're going to look at him as if he's crazy, which is just ridiculous in my opinion. I've never necessarily seen Kyrie as an ego, as having an ego in the slightest, but he probably may have one, he may not. That's neither here nor there for me. I don't know him personally, but um but with what he said, I personally see it as sort of a ploy to basically just for the media to sell some stories, right? They, again, like he
I
even
don't
said
disagree
in
with
his
that at all.
yeah, like he even says this in his Instagram story. I think the other day he said that the media is basically entertainment, and they said, and he said something that sparked people to think he might be talking about LeBron. And of course, they wanted to make it about LeBron. And who knows? Maybe they have a pretty good relationship. Maybe at his time in Cleveland, maybe they did have some back and forth. And maybe, you know, at that
Shout out
time
to
they
Kobe
probably
back
didn't.
and forth.
Yeah, they probably didn't have the best relationship. But nowadays they probably have cleared the air. They probably have hashed things out. But that's between them. It's kind of like with the Kevin Durant Russell Westbrook situation. Anytime anybody speaks basically on each other's behalf at this point, they're going to think, is there still tension there? Are they cool? Or are they not? But all I'm saying is that, at the end of the day, we never know what he's really saying. Maybe he's just completely maybe he's just speaking from his own perspective, because at the end of the day, he is a star NBA player too. He knows better than we do. We're basically the fourth wall. We're the ones just watching. He's the one in practice. He's the one in the locker room. So he probably didn't even mean to diss LeBron. I believe he thinks highly of LeBron. I think he thinks he is one of the best ever. But I feel like what he said about Kevin Durant, which is how he felt, and I never really saw that as an issue, as if he was dissing LeBron James. I didn't see it that way.
Me neither.
Now, to
But
go back,
but you know how the media, influxes this kind of stuff at times. And I work in this field, and RJ, like we're all in this field at this point.
yeah, we're all in this field, yeah.
Because
But I want to
I'm in a grad school, but you guys are in college technically. So, but we know what this is about.
go back to the ego part, and what I meant. Like you, I've played basketball all my life, and in high school especially, I've realized that egos happen. I've had players that I don't like on my team, and I have even shied away from it. Like I should have just told them, like, I don't like you on the team. Like it
One
happens. And yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But if he didn't like playing, I'm still confident in my opinion. I still think that he just didn't want to play with LeBron, and that's why he wanted to leave after just 2 years playing with him. Well, 3 years technically. Yeah, was it 3? Yeah, 3. And yeah, 3 seasons. But Kyrie just wants to do him. And I don't think that he's a bad person. He definitely has an ego. Everybody has an ego in sports. It's sports. Come on. But it's just the way it is. And what a lot of Boston fans don't like him. Our very own Tyler doesn't like him. But I get why some people feel that way towards him, because he doesn't give he doesn't give away too much, and he keeps very little to himself. Like he'll say one thing and people will be like, "Oh my God, he's talking about LeBron." And I just don't think that's right. But in this instance, I can see why people are saying that he took a shot at LeBron. And they asked LeBron about it, I think yesterday. I believe they did. And he just said, "I don't care." Like I just this might come off as a bad thing to say, but I love storylines in sports. And if they do happen to face off in the finals, I'm actually gonna bring this up again, because I actually would love that, because it may sound bad, but I just I kind of like stuff like this. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing to like storylines. I mean,
No, I mean like
we all deal with them.
No, I mean like people are kind of making it seem like he's dissing LeBron, and I'm kind of hoping that he is, because I would like LeBron to use that as bulletin board material, and then let's say they're in the finals, because to me, like me and Will play basketball. To us, this is just basketball. Like this is just basketball stuff. Like this,
it's basic basketball report.
It's basically just, and we like that stuff. So
yeah.
Certainly, we'll keep an eye on that. But to shift from the hardwood to the gridiron, some things were going on last night between the New York Jets and Denver Broncos. Denver escaped with a 37-28 victory, but all people are talking about are the 6 personal foul calls plus multiple penalties, 11 if I'm not mistaken, from the New York Jets. Now, granted, most of the penalties seem to occur on the defense, a couple here and there from the offense, but what can you do without any skill talent? Yet the headlines in the New York Daily News, in fact, they used one of my words today, Gase closed. As you guys remember, I wrote a story last year when New England took down the Jets on Monday Night Football. It was Gase closed in the Metropolis. Now they use Gase closed again. The New York Daily News did. But it does speak volumes, and the main person to watch for is Gregg Williams. So today I wrote a story for NFL Spin Zone that Gregg Williams has got to go. And I'm sure you guys saw some glimpses of it, or if you watch the highlights, you guys can see what I'm talking about. And so, Will, I leave the floor to you on this one, man. This is ridiculous what Gregg Williams did. And
yeah, it's very ridiculous. It's just sickening, and it's quite disgusting. I mean, he's damn near killing guys. That's CTE. That's terrible. He's costing guys a lot of money and careers and possibly their lives. And I personally thought after 2009, him and Sean Payton should have been completely exiled from the league. Completely. I mean, that's just terrible. I mean, and plus, just look at the environment right now. The NFL is still, kind of from Colin Kaepernick. So, and all he did was just kneel and just exercise his right. But you have two coaches in the league who are notoriously known for basically headhunting on the football field, yet they still have a job. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. That's all I really have to say on it. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And
I
I
would
have
agree.
and I have very little respect for Gregg Williams for that.
To your point about the Colin Kaepernick thing, that's a very good point. I didn't even realize that.
Very valid.
That's a very valid point because he was exiled from the league for basically exercising his right, and that's messed up that he was just exercising his right and he was basically blackballed. But you have a guy like Gregg Williams who deserves to get blackballed and should have been blackballed because they got this guy on the
Audio.
microphone, on audio, saying, go for the head. If you go for the head, it kills. He's basically telling those players, I don't care what any Saints fan or Jets fan say, this is pathetic. It's bad for the game. And he injured Brett Favre. I don't
He
forget
also
about
got
that
Kurt
game.
Warner a couple times.
Kurt Warner and Matt Ryan too. Matt
And
Ryan wasn't.
And Peyton got nicked a couple of times.
Yeah, Matt
Not
Ryan
in the Super
wasn't.
Bowl, but in the other matches that they would. Peyton also noticed like he didn't get the many delivered. Remember me?
Yeah,
But
Matt
he
Ryan.
didn't get hit.
I remember there was a game that I watched in 2009, and you can find it on YouTube. There's a hit where Ryan, he gets rid of the ball, and the ball's already out of his hand. This dude comes out of nowhere and helmet first goes to his helmet. And I saw a lot of that yesterday. A lot. More than 6 times.
And worst of all, it's a third string rookie quarterback.
I think Matt Ryan's helmet came off. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember that vividly. And that's why to this day I just absolutely hate the Saints. But yeah, no, like you said, RJ, that is just ridiculous and disgusting. And I really do not blame Vic Fangio for trying to get his players off the field.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, we're not shaking their hands.
That was ridiculous. That was terrible.
Yeah, he's like, we're not shaking their hands. Like, get out of here. Like, we're not doing
that's ridiculous.
I would have done the same thing because, like, and in my opinion, I don't understand why the NFL
today, timeouts to cause more hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They couldn't let the clock run out. They had to call in, and then Steve McClendon just said, "Whatever, I'm going for him."
Even if you
listen, the rookie making his first start.
Even if you listen to this guy, Gregg Williams, he's a low class, and he's all about trying to do dirty hits. I remember they played the Browns last year.
2017 season, that was bad.
But I'm talking about last season they played the Browns.
That's right.
Monday Night Football.
Cleveland came to town.
And Odell Beckham, he came out and said like, "Yo, they were doing some dirty cheap hits," and I'm just sitting here like, investigate this, Roger. Why are you sitting on your ass? Like investigate this. This is bad.
Exactly.
Like, you got Odell Beckham complaining about it last year. I'm sure there's many other players have complained about it, and then you have
the Broncos aren't going to complain. There's no doubt. And
they already have
the turf. We forgot. Now the Giants, obviously, the Giants didn't do anything like this, so let's not put the New York Giants involved. Even though there were injuries during that game, I'm not going to blame. Big Blue has nothing to do with this. So if any Giants fans are watching, y'all are good. Sorry,
they do.
You didn't do anything wrong. It was during the Jets-Niners game that the turf was going on and several hits were going off, including what happened to Denver remind you, this is a very depleted Denver team, and they already got enough scares to worry about, and they got a few more.
Yeah, Raheem Mostert, he tweeted out something
on the turf.
They need to get rid of this turf or something. Like, something's up with this turf because you got Noah Fant got injured, and we don't even know what his injury is.
Chubb was also out for quite a while.
Who?
Bradley Chubb was also knocked out for quite a while. Now, granted, he made the big sack on the last drive and all, and then, of course, he also helped force a funny banana peel slipping kind of moment for Sam Darnold, who, by the way, broke off a big run for that touchdown. But I get what you're saying with this. Yeah, I wrote it in the piece today that this is ridiculous.
And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually afraid for my Patriots to go play the New York Jets in New York because they don't fix this turf. I'm actually kind of worried because I don't want any of our players getting hurt because we are actually one of the most healthiest teams in the league right now. And we play that game, they better change that turf because I'm not really happy about, what's going on up there.
Forget the turf. What happens if they come to Foxborough and pull that kind of stuff? What happens if we go there and they pull the same kind of injury stunts on us? Then what?
Hard to do it with Cam, but they can try. But
They did that with Denver. Did it with Von Miller and the crew. Now, granted, they weren't playing dirty. It was just a bunch of physical football.
Are you talking about in the opener in
Yes, that
2016?
opener we saw.
Oh
When
yeah, Denver.
I think
Denver
you
was
remember that.
Denver was playing. They were playing dirty in that game. Yeah,
But Denver didn't have Williams. It was just physical.
I mean, that is true, but they were going after his head. I mean, they may have didn't have Gregg Williams as a defensive coordinator, but they were still playing dirty. Like they were going for his head continuously.
We'll see, fellas. But obviously we read this stuff, we write this stuff, and I'm just worried because now granted, Will, I know you're a Falcons fan. How do you think the city of Atlanta would feel if Gregg Williams was doing this kind of stuff to your players? We already know what they do to the Patriots. We saw what they did to the Broncos. How do you think Falcons fans would react to this?
Well, we already got a piece of that from the Saints, like you said, back in 09 in the early days. But yeah, I mean, collectively, we all saw it out. That's why the city of Atlanta, when it comes to the Saints, we almost want to throw up.
Yeah, we don't like the Saints, man.
we just hate them in general because they're in our division. We don't like Sean Payton, especially Bounty Gate, and we always get on to him about it. Me personally, I don't care. I'll say it on live right now. I still think that their 2009 Super Bowl was not deserved. And, I mean, you take away the dirty plays, I don't think they win a Super Bowl. But that's not here nor there. It's specifically you have a person that, not to sound scary, but has the potential to really mess up this league, which is how he coaches, just his coaching style and how he calls these defensive plays. And me personally, I also wanted to say, even if I'm some of his own players, this may be kind of interesting, but I would go to him myself and be like, I do not like how he's coaching. I do not like the fact that he's telling us to go for these players' head. I might want out of here, or I want him out. Like I wouldn't be shocked if maybe a person like a Sam Darnold or a Frank Gore or somebody on the defense goes into the front office and complains about Gregg Williams. I mean, and now it's kind of seeing crystal clear why Jamal Adams wanted out. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
Well, it's only a matter of time before Gase and Williams got to go. And also, if people were talking about him being a head coach in this league, no way. This dude had so many bad records when he was in coaching in Buffalo. RJ, remember this 2003, that year they won 31-0. Then Tom Jackson opened his mouth.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Gregg Williams got fired for 6-10.
Yeah.
So in the end, you guys get what I'm saying with this. Like, this is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
It's only a matter of time before this guy's going to be banned. And if they don't do an investigation soon, I can guarantee you, if they don't do an investigation at some point, more players are going to get hurt.
You have players that have wives, they have kids, and you're going for their head. You have family members, and you're going to go for their head. You could potentially end their careers. Like, that's messed up, bro.
In their lives, like that's terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Brett Favre lost a lot. Kurt Warner was sent into retirement basically with severe injuries. Peyton Manning, he didn't get hit in that Super Bowl, but you can clearly see he was a little bit flustered.
Oh yeah.
And
if I remember,
like his following year, you saw it again.
Yeah, and I remember in that Super Bowl on certain pass plays, a lot of people will say like, oh, he didn't play well in that game. Well, if you go back, he was trying to make some safer throws to not get those hospital passes because they were still doing some headhunting in that Super Bowl game. I can tell. They were still doing some headhunting.
I was watching that game.
He didn't play well in the fourth. Of course, he choked in the fourth quarter, but
he completely still choked the game in the fourth quarter. But I can tell in that game he was trying to really protect his players.
Yeah.
I was concerned a little bit watching that game as I was in sixth grade at the time. And, obviously we didn't really have favorites. We're just watching because, we don't really play favorites when it comes to this kind of stuff. But,
Peyton's known for, throwing crazy passes.
Peyton's hit hard.
Yeah.
And, the league, if they found out their Peyton Manning was hurt like this, oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, they would have been on. They should have been on. I'm really still surprised that they didn't start investigating it until 2011. And then
somebody came forward with it.
I mean, I got to go back and look at the story, but still, that was just messed up. Like, it was going on for, a long time.
Well, we'll leave it there, fellas, but this is not going to end well, and we are concerned for the rest of the players. And if I'm not mistaken, let's get another game. Could have a couple games in before their bye, or I don't know if they're on their bye this week or in a couple weeks, but I'll tell you this: whoever's got the Jets on the schedule, after they saw what they did to Denver, they've got to emphasize if they do kind of stuff like this, just don't shake their hand and just walk off. Kudos to Vic Fangio for that, by the way.
Yeah, I applaud him
As
for
a Bears
that.
guy, I love what he did with our defense. He was physical, but he was always within the rules.
Yeah.
So like I don't think Bears fans applauded him. I spoke to a couple of they were pretty happy with Vic, saying good thing he got him out of there. Thankfully no one else got hurt. But they were definitely concerned. So we'll leave it there. For all of you guys watching out there, as always, please stay safe and make sure to keep yourselves real.